All right. Well, hopefully this works. Uh, that should be reset. Let me just double check. Test mic, test mic, test mic. Okay. Well, I guess we shall see. Um, so I just need to. So my hotspot should be reset. Um, let me see one thing here. Okay. Um. All right. Well, let's get to it then. Where was my thing? Okay, let me move the zoom over here. No, this. To keep my phone open. Okay, and I have this. Uh, okay. Let's share that. And wait, hold up. Okay, so mhm. Alrighty. Um, so very interesting chart. I see all the Virgo energy. Virgo Venus conjunct North Node, retrograde Venus with 25-degree ascendant. Um, very interesting. Aries rising is always I don't want to call it the best rising, but you can make the case. Let's just say it wouldn't be a crazy case to make. Um, Moon Leo with Mars there too, conjunct Ceres. Um, and you got eighth house Sun in Virgo. So first question is what is Virgo has to do with Leo? And obviously, being an Aries rising, is giving a lot of it's backing up the moon. So what I like to think about in that type of situation is that um it basically gives you this feeling of what's the word? Like basically, your moons are hidden, right? People don't that your moon is hidden, so people don't really see your moon. So some people have a moon sign that is completely different than their ascendant, right? And that is a struggle because what happens is that um, you know, you aren't what you seem. In your case, it's the opposite. Because Leo is so similar, they're both fire signs, right? Leo is so similar to Aries. It's kind of like, what you see is what you get. There's not like any big shocks, which I think is very, very, very good romantically. I've had my own experience with this, but it's not really. It's just with my being a Pisces and Sagittarius, and having like different relationships where the girl only like liked me like that fire side of me, or like we only connected on like the fire side, but like then the water sign wasn't met. So and I've had numerous clients where they have like, let's say I had recently Pisces moon. I forget the sun, but I know it was like very dominant rising and very dominant sun. And she struggled in the dating area. Because like I mean there's different reasons, but really one of the core kind of takeaways was that she was very, very sensitive, but she didn't put out that energy, right? It wasn't something that people could just see. So to have what you have is very positive. In the sense that Aries, it's a go-getter energy, and then it matches your Leo moon. When people get to know you, they are like, all right, well, she's an Aries rising, so she's assertive, and and also Aries rising is like really the amazing rising because it makes every house align with the matching zodiac sign. Like for example, the first house is like basically like Aries, right? And the second house is basically like Taurus. So when you have an Aries rising, Aries first house is an Aries. Your first house is ruled by Aries. Like for example, it's different if you have a Pisces rising, right? Or like let's call it like a Gemini rising, because the first house is still the house of Aries, right? But then you have Gemini in the first house. So there's lots of mixing and matching. So there's a lot Aries rising. There's this real this real energy that makes things easier, kind of like doubles down on things. Now, give me one quick second. I need to look up one thing. Hold on, just one quick second. Okay. What I thought. Got it. Wait, that's weird. Hold on. Okay. So, so yeah. So being a Virgo and having multiple planets in Virgo, including Jupiter, Pluto, Juno, the asteroid Juno, and the North Node, and the Venus, and then the Sun, of course. It's in the eighth house, and then so that's or excuse me, Virgo. I meant to say Scorpio. That's what I've been like thinking the whole time. It's just I said Virgo. I said it, but I didn't mean it. So yeah, eighth house Scorpio Sun is very, very powerful. And so like I said, like Leo fifth house moon is in that fifth house, the house of Leo. So it's really like house placements matter a little bit less in that sense, right? Um, so with that said, what is Scorpio and Leo? Well, they're both squaring each other. You have a sun square moon. So that usually people who have that, they their parents were divorced, or like I have it, by the way. My parents are divorced. And if they're not divorced, they tend to have like a very different worldview, like very, very, very different way of kind of seeing life. And as you know, I wrote about this in my book, and I encourage everyone to do this sort of exercise, is to just think about like what is like the main message that I got from mom and from dad, right? Um, Unconscious message, of course. And you know, you think but oftentimes, it's not always what you think. So there's definitely going to be a part of you that is very, very deep, that prefers the idea of just like staying in and meditating, right? Um, and then there's gonna be a part of you that is very, very all about having fun and all about being, with the inner child and all about just play and trying to figure out, like with children. And so there's like the Scorpio side is very serious, and it really it takes, so it's an interesting, it's very creative combo, right? But there is usually a split here, right? So it's very similar to me. Like we both have in our big three, two fire and a water, right? And I, with my therapist, talk a lot about this split I have, and I've named it like the Pisces side and the Sag Leo side, right? So it might be similar for you, where you feel this split and the two very, very different energies, and it's like, how the hell do I, get these two to get along? Um, so the answer isn't simple, but it's about feeding both mouths. So from what I mean by that is the first step is, okay, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what do you mean both mouths, right? Um, what does each one need? Um, so the Scorpio needs depth, right? It's your sun, it's the core essence of who you are. It needs that depth, that real, real deep, 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 you know? Um, and then the Leo needs a break from that intensity, um, and needs some fun. And everything I'm saying, like, it relates to love life. It relates to all that, right? Everything is relative. So, in a partner, that would manifest, or like, dream partner, as in someone who can be deep, who can go there, can meet those needs, those needs there, but who also can have some fun when they need to have some fun. Someone who's not like with a stick up their ass, as they say, right? Um, and the beautiful thing about Scorpio is the loyalty. And I know that's a very big cliche, but Scorpio is fixed and Leo is fixed. So you're going to be a very, very, you probably be quite stubborn. I'm just saying, I don't mean it to offend. I'm just saying. And those are like, very dramatic. I mean, you're like my cat, Fetties. He's a Scorpio Sun, Leo Moon. So I know this energy very well, actually. Turns out. Um, in animals, you might not think it, but it is the rawest example of astrology, because there's nothing held back. Of course, it's not a human, obviously, um, but I have learned a bunch about astrology from my animals, because they don't have a super ego. They don't have that front that they're trying to put up. They exist just how they exist. So you get to really see, like, so with the Leo, right? So with this energy, um I find it interesting because, like, I'll give like potentials, probabilities, you call them what you want, right? Um One is that on some level there is so on some level there is a part of you that feels like their life has this very, very deep um Well, there definitely is, right? Especially with Mars there. Like it's very, very, very deep creative purpose, right? You'll have an emotional need. I have a fifth house moon too in fire, so I know how it is. Like there's like this emotional need to create, right? Like to and with your South node, which is like your karmic tendency in a Venus ruled sign in Taurus, um, you have this tendency to be creative and to be the artist, to be the person, right? Like to be very Venusian, to be very at peace. Now, the reason you're a Scorpio in this lifetime is because you've taken that too far. To the point to where it's like I always give this example when I see this, right? In 1 second, hold on. I need to 1 sec. I have to text. I have to text my girlfriend about something really important. I just thought of. Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds, and this was the last time. One second. Okay, hold on. Just about done. Okay. 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 All right. That's good. So, anyways, as I was saying, you know, the Scorpio part wants this real depth, this real ability to go deep, within the self. And there's this past life tendency of being kind of like of not taking enough risks. That's why you're Scorpio, right? You're here to really go deep. You're here to go deep, 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 deep into yourself. Um, and with let's see, um, with the eighth house, there could be inheritances also. I just want to say that I just posted about how if you have I literally said if you have like Sun, Venus, Jupiter, um, planets like that, like literally those are like probably the main three in the eighth house, then good chance of either like having an inheritance or marrying rich. So I don't know anything about you. I haven't looked at your Instagram at all, but you know, there's definitely that potential. I would guess that you benefit from other people's resources in some type of way, which is usually good money karma, right? And the reason for that, so this is like what I'm seeing, is because some people have charts where they're meant to learn a lot about um they're meant to learn a lot about like the lessons that money teaches them in this incarnation. But some people have learned those already, like yourself. So, I mean, there still could be something there, but like from what I'm seeing, you're probably good. I mean, Jupiter in the eighth house, like, I mean, just forming super strong alliances is also like really, really good for the occult and the esoteric to have Venus and Jupiter in the same house already. It makes that house a superpower. So the eighth house, you're like an unbelievable like natural psychologist. If that's what you do for work, that's amazing. Um, so yeah. And let me just see one thing. I have to look something up. Okay. So yeah. It's very interesting. So I think a lot of your life purpose is around delving deep, is shadow work, around like delving deep into like the esoteric, deep into your own self, right? And as an eighth house sun myself, so I can speak from experience and from numerous clients. Every time I tell them this, and then they confirm, like in a follow up, same thing, right? It's like an eighth house sun. Like I always say, like it's hard. It's interesting because you're getting astrocartography, so it's so interesting because like I always tell like for the eighth house suns, we go through such major transformations, um, that it can be like really hard for us to like relate to the people we grew up with if they don't change, right? And a lot of us want to move, you know. But like we look back on our lives and like there's like these different eras that are so different, you know. And like I know that that's like, you know, could be like a blanket statement, like of course everyone goes through eras, right? But like for the eighth houser, it is insanely different. Like I mean insanely, like insane, right? So yeah, it's very interesting. Like a lot of people with that, they're like they look, yeah, they like, example for me, like I can talk about three or four different eras in my life where like definitely through like even my adult life, you know, since I've been like 18, I can, or or a teenager, like I can think of like um you know, four different, three like distinct, like where it literally feels like that was an actor playing me. But like the old version of me, you know, it literally, it does not feel like me. And then I know that doesn't sound like everyone can say that, you know, you know, developmental psychology, like people change. No, like eighth housers, like the change is so drastic, because they have to go through that death rebirth transformation, and they really feel this like really intense areas of life, you know. They see things that other people don't see. They're very sensitive. They're battle tested, right? So they transform. And like let's say you have like your group of friends that you grew up with, everything's good, you know, you guys have like, you bond on certain issues. Well, your Scorpio side wants that depth. But this is where it's interesting, right? Your Leo side wants that play. It doesn't want, so it's like you probably go back and forth between like, and then the Aries rising is all about adventure also. So it's like going back, it's like feeding yourself. It's like part of you like wants to just sit home and meditate on a Saturday, and the other part's like, oh, I want to go out with my girls, you know, or I want to go on this trip. So with a partner, yeah, like I said, you need someone who you know, Venus is in Scorpio too. I would probably guess that you'd be a little bit you could be a drama queen. I'd guess. And that there could be some stubbornness, as I said before. And it's just potentials, you know. You can, it's things that can be worked past, but you're definitely a fucking loyal ass person. Like when you commit yourself to someone, like it is commitment, and you are determined as fuck. Um, um, so yeah, I just saw that your birthday is 94. Very interesting. I'm gonna turn my camera on in a sec. I'm just kind of like in my zone. Like I have like these crystals. One of them is at a shop being turned into a chain, but or a pendant to wear on my chain. But that's why I don't have the camera on. I like to kind of sit. And it should be sharing the screen, but I'll pop in and out. But let me sit for like for a second and just like feel into this a little bit more. And then I just need to like look at the chart and I get messages. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So I like for me, like it was a big struggle, right? It's always been a big struggle. And a lot of people who have that, it's confusing. To have like one part of you that says one that wants one thing that's completely different, and it can just cause confusion with relationships of all sorts, like you could have friends who are like your, I mean, I don't know if you're like a party girl or something like that, but like it doesn't have to be partying, and I'm not a party boy, just by the way, but I used to be. But you know, there can be people where like they're more of your like friends that you have fun with, that you go to like dinners with or whatever. And then there's your real authentic friends. So that is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, Leo, the square with Scorpio itself creates tension. So lots of people with Sun square Moon are very successful, right? Because they are able to, they have that pressure, but like it's really about like, so do that exercise where you like write down a paragraph of like, okay, like what is the main message from mom? What's the main messages from dad? Because we like to think like that we're not affected by our parents and stuff, like, oh no, I'm not like them at all. But when you actually think of you might not be like them, but like when I actually did that exercise, I realized, that there were like lots of things that like I don't, like for example, my mom's a Virgo and I'm super, super organized. I'm like, I don't have any earth in my chart. So it's like I don't think if she was if I had a different mom, I don't think I would be as organized as I am. So yeah. Um yeah, that's huge. But um yeah, so Leo is so the emotional need for Leo moon is about um it's really about like authentic self-expression, right? Um and what I mean by that is can you can you basically, how do I say this? Like it's basically around the idea of like how low vibe Leo can be too much, like look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? And care too much about what other people think of them, right? They might have like an emotional need to be seen, and so that makes like the early nurturing super important, especially from the mother, right? Because Leo moons are super sensitive. I don't care, like people don't talk about how sensitive Leo is. It's so funny. I've had so many examples in my life of Leos where I'm just like, I'm the Pisces, and you're the fucking sensitive one, right? um that's funny stuff. But yeah, so like, there's the emotional need to kind of like sometimes be the center of attention. So you have to watch out for that. But you want to shine. You have this need, so this one part of you wants to shine, but then you're a fucking Scorpio, which is the opposite of shining. Um, and that's more about like kind of being in the shadows, the shadow realms, and whatnot, right? So it's very interesting. Um, very, very interesting. Yeah, God, I'm trying to think of like of who of what celebrities have the Scorpio sun. Let me search. I feel like I'm forgetting like a really obvious one. Scorpio sun. Like to my what I like my celebrities, which are probably different. But yeah, it is like I actually popped in. It's like charismatic leader. strong-willed, and Scorpio is strong-willed and assertive. So a person of both signs has tons of leadership potential. Leo's influence makes Scorpio's sense powerful presence feel warmer. Leo brings upbeat energy, which naturally attracts people. That's kind of cool. I searched that on accident, but that popped up. But no, celebrities is what I'm trying to search. Okay, here we are. I have Einstein on mine. I have such a funny list. Okay, no, it's not Julia. Oh, Julia Roberts has it. Oh, God. Tyga, Gabrielle Union. Those aren't the ones I'm thinking of. Who the hell is it? See that neck? French guy, French guy. Yo, this is gonna piss me off. Let's figure this out. Piss me off. Yo, who is it? It's not even like showing them in order of popularity. I mean, is it? If it is, then okay. No, let's try this one. Okay, this is usually better. Say. Okay, here it is. So, Sun in Scorpio and in Leo. Oh, well, maybe I'm like tripping. Or was Julia Roberts always? No, because I'm not like I don't know. I'm not like I know against her. I just don't really like know much about her. But there's someone I swear. Maybe it's a rapper. Maybe that's what it is. It's like more of like a minor celebrity. Mm. Okay, I remember, and I know why I messed it up. It's Young Thug. But it's opposite. He's a Leo sun, Scorpio moon. That's what I was thinking about. Okay. Yeah, because no one's popping up. Um, okay. So yes, whatever. So okay, and so far the hotspot's doing good. I have to keep my phone screen open and just close it for a second. So no bueno. Um, so yeah, overall, you just have to know that like there'll be times where you'll want to shine, be the center of attention, but then like there'll be another party that'll be like, nah, I don't want that. Like so it's like I want to just like be more in the shadows, I want to live my life more kind of like low key. So what it could be like the artist, the artist or something that expresses themselves creatively, but doesn't do it in like this very like I'm an eighth house son, and I'm super public. So and you're an Aries rising, so Aries risings are just like adventure, adventure, adventure. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like let's do this. Mars rules your chart, and Mars is in Leo and a really strong like sign in Leo, right? Um, so yeah, um, definitely strong leadership energy here, strong masculine energy. But then there's that need, and with that North Node in Scorpio with Venus on North Node, you're and Juno on the North Node, so it's like doubling down. It's like double message. Your relationships, romantic ones, are gonna be very faded, and it's really asking you to take more depth in them. Um, so like Taurus South Node, um, yeah, like I said, like it's like I always think of like the person who like has that beautiful life, beach in Costa Rica, and because of that, they didn't want, they never left home. They stay kind of in the kind of like known life, and that's it. Um, And when there's enough life, it's not a bad thing. It's just that, when you're living in that kind of situation, you're not pushed to make these big changes, right? You're not pushed to make to really do these things that you know to do the shadow work, right? All is good. So anyways, and then Black Moon Lilith even complements that because it's in Taurus, so it speaks to like how, inflexibility, right? And unwillingness to kind of like go and do, go and take risks, um, is kind of like you at your lowest vibe, and it kind of is like telling you to do that more. Um, and yeah, like on top of that, um, just the idea of just like the South, like, so I talk about on my page, I had an article about like, like, are you living in your South node, right? And basically what I spoke about is, um, you're trying to get to your North node. That's the whole goal, right? It's a metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives. That's where you're trying to get. And a lot of people stay stuck in their South node, which is what feels comfortable, um, but isn't necessarily like the best for them in terms of growth. Um, so yeah, how do I say this? So yeah, there's a big time need to kind of like for this for like the Taurus Scorpio energy, like someone who has a South Node in the second house in Taurus would probably be more like they would have like a natural kind of self-esteem, like a kind of natural backing. But they may have trust issues, they may have issues, um, like when it comes to combining with other people's energy, right? So in this life, you're really meant to like learn to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And it's like through these like relationships that, and Pluto's over there in the eighth also, yeah. So through these like really intense relationships, which are very fated, which is shown, you see by this with the North Node. I'm gonna send you a DM right now, by the way, telling you that it's working so far. But I don't want to like jinx it. Let's see, where are you, Dina? Friend, God, so many DMs. I was blind. I like to tell people I'm doing the reading when I'm doing it. Where are you? Heck. Okay. This is really, really, really weird. Did you like delete your Instagram or something? Okay, there you are. Okay, it's working. Okay, cool. Well, you're probably asleep, but anyways, whatever. So yeah, um, that's the thing. Um, relying a lot on the self and not being willing to take risks, and then moving into a life towards a life where that's where it's all about, so the eighth house is also the house of the esoteric, the house of secrets, the house of the unseen, of the underground. And these would be prominent in your life. And like anything related to that. But with Pluto there, you meet your shadow in relationships, but then also you have lots of luck with Jupiter there and Venus there, and lots of beauty and lots of fate. So all your like real romantic relationships, like if you're single now, like um like literally you never ever have to even think or worry about like that area of life at all, because it's just taken care of. Like you're gonna meet the right people at exactly the right time. Um, it's completely pre-written, predestined, and if you're meant to, if you're meant to be with someone, um, like yeah, I mean we have North Node on Venus. I also have North Node on Venus, so I have the same thing, where it's like I know that like whatever relationship I'm in has like a set start date, a set karmic meeting time, and a set expiration date. You know, if it has one, I try not to, I try not to like think about that. I just live in the moment. But that having that in a chart is very, very just like, like the love life is completely ruled by fate. Um, so yeah. Um, yeah. So how do you integrate darkness? Well, you have to face it. Um, you have to face it, and the eighth house sun person is very aware of like the difficult area aspects of the world. Let me put my camera on. They're very, very, very like they understand um kind of like the real like shit parts of humanity. Perhaps there's issues, with the father sometimes with that. Especially if there's like a divorce, maybe like not seeing the father as much. Um and it could also like indicate like some like level of high drama between the two parents, right? Now beyond that, your chart ruler, Mars in Leo is, conjunct Ceres is like it gives you this drive to want to create, this drive to want to find authentic self-expression. So I touched on that earlier, but I want to really, really lean into it. Society tells us there's no point in creating this poetry or this Instagram account or this whatever, anything creative, unless it gets certain like why make this song unless it gets this amount of views or likes. The whole high vibe of Leo is like it doesn't fucking matter. It's the fact that you're doing it. Like when I go on IG Live, like I don't look at how many people are watching. Like I'll peer at it, but like I'm just communicating with people there, and then I leave the live. I'm like full of energy. So yeah, there's definitely a need for you to have like an outlet, which is hopefully connected to your work. And speaking of your work, so yeah, like you're gonna definitely also like in terms of physical ability, like you'll probably like really an aspect in Mars, like be very, very just like assertive, like physically, like and it might be like with sports, but also just like go getter energy, like you just go and nothing really holds you back. Um, so unless wait, I mean, besides, Venus squares Mars, which is interesting. So you have Sun. So I love when I've seen this a few times, where it's like Sun. So there's two yin yangs in the chart. There's Sun, Moon, and there's Venus, Mars, and you have, you know, Mars and Moon. So one masculine, one feminine in Leo, and then Venus, feminine, Sun, masculine in Scorpio. So that just speaks to how that plays out in your love life as well, you know, and what you value. You value depth. You value, you know, people who you can tell all your deepest secrets to. But then at the same time, you know, you have a drive to be creative and to express your inner child, which runs counter. Scorpio is very serious energy, right? So you probably have these two sides, where one's like very, very like kind of locked in, like very probing, like psychological, and this other part where it's like maybe you have like periods where you're like in your Scorpio zone, you're like, all right, okay, this is too much. Like I need to go out and have some fun. I need to go let loose. I need to go be like, and Leo moons are like forever young. That's how I think of them. Like they're like forever young souls, you know? And like my mom's Leo moon, right? She's 66 or something. I should know my mom's age. She's 56. Yeah, she's old. Um, I look, this thing's stuck here. It won't come out. Um, yeah, she's nearly 70. That's crazy. She'll be 70 in 2026. But anyways, you know, she still has a very youthful spirit, a fun spirit. And Leo moons, doesn't matter how old they get, they always keep that. Um, I can't stop doing this. I got it. Okay, it's a carrot. Gross. I'm sorry. Okay. So anyways, basically that's a big thing. Leo versus Scorpio. How to, you know, give both what they need. Um, and I think, yeah, like I said, it's about really yeah, um giving each of them like understanding like that they're very different and that they represent two different parts of you. Um and giving each one what it needs. So I wrote a note here to read Squarespace email. I usually like don't do that at the very beginning of a reading. So it's probably but there's like no. Oh, okay, yeah. There's two words. I see. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Okay. So yeah. So we've been talking about relationships and then career stuff. Yeah, I was about to get into that actually. Interesting. So yeah, with the relationships, that's the thing. um, there's that part of you that really, really wants that scorpionic two souls becoming one depth. And this is another thing about a Venus. So I didn't talk about the fact that you have Venus retrograde natally, right? That's super important. Um, Venus retrograde people sometimes like their whole existence, like you know, like the how are you, like how are you doing? You ask that to a Venus retrograde, like sometimes like it will their answer will be based on whether they're in a relationship or not, or how good that relationship is going, stuff like that, right? So yeah, it's important to really not like become codependent and feel like you need that relationships because like you know the kind of way that Venus and Scorpio people are in the eighth house, you know, it's like they want to transform through the relationship, so they're really looking for that soulmate. Um, and not everyone can match that intensity, especially when you have Mars square Venus, right? Um, like real deep intimacy. um and like if you feel like it's like lacking that like that intensity and that passion, you know, like you'll dip out. And with the square, it can lead to like difficulty with being patient with loved ones, like just like really like kind of coming on too strong sometimes. And it can also like lead to like someone who, like, or come from someone who's like impatient with themselves, so not giving themselves enough time to kind of like sit and chill, you know? So that's that. But yeah, I mean, like a lot is in those two signs, and then there's Aries, right? There's no, and there's no air, like even Jupiter. So there's no air, there's no earth, right? Um, there's no air, there's no earth, in terms of personal plans. So when you lack earth, you lack air, you can lack objectivity with air. So doing breath work would be very, very good for you. Um, and it can be difficult like to communicate, right? It can be difficult, like communication can be difficult, seeing other people's perspectives, all those little things. There can be a little mix-ups that happen, right? And lacking earth, that is speaks to like the need to have this like really, really rock solid routine down. And how not having that can be really, really difficult, right? So you need to like create your life, like have your life like be bound by these by some sort of routine. I'll be right back. You can still hear me, but by some sort of routine, right? Um, that meets your spiritual, emotional, physical, all those needs, right? Especially with all your fire, you're gonna want something that you know can make things happen in that realm. Um, so but overall, having the Leo Mars ruling your chart, you're someone who takes action. And I think like the kind of guy that you would like, especially with your Juno um in that sign as well, would be someone who, how do you say, someone who can really like meet you where you're at, who can really meet you where you're at, um non-judgmentally, like help you through different um things that are going on with you. And like that's probably the difficulty with you in love, is that you might meet someone who has like the Scorpio side, but then they don't have the Leo side, you know? So it's like how to find someone that has both. That's the big question. Um, that's not easy to answer. But overall, I think that when you like, I have Juno in Scorpio too, so that speaks about your ideal partner. Um, like that, like, and then having Venus there too, like I don't want to say like you need someone that is dramatic, because that sounds horrible. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like sometimes people who have this alignment, they almost like want like like they can be jealous people for sure with all the Scorpio, right? Um, they can be vengeful, and they can be controlling. That's like the low vibe. So if like until like the thing with Scorpio energy is that like it's about like power. Like Scorpio's Pluto rule, so it's about power. And you, with your eighth house Pluto, you discover your true power through your deep dives into the esoteric, through your deep dives into like learning this like wisdom, this deep, deep ancient wisdom, like astrology, for example. Um, and through your experiences in love, you know. Um, Also, like in terms of like sex, that's a big deal. Um, you know, Someone who has that definitely would the words that come to mind are like tantric, like very spiritual type of sex. Um, but yeah, it gives us like real desire to unite with others and really fully merge. So like I would imagine that like you like probe deeply in like metaphysical subjects, anything that's like that's beneath the surface. But then with lovers, it's like, you know, like they have to be able to match your level of intensity, but then also have a certain lightness to them, you know, and adventurous. They can't just be like all water. And you know, also with love, like, you know, maybe someone who makes up for some of the elements that you lack, right? Um, like if you don't have any earth or air, maybe someone with some earth or air. So, um, yeah. With career, you know, you have Neptune right on the midheaven. You have your midheaven on Vega. So that is really, really good. I just wrote about that. That's like a wealth. That's really good for wealth. That's a star that's related to wealth. And just success overall. But sometimes, you know, these stars like they take a little bit of time, you know. It's not always right away, especially like a Capricorn midheaven. You know, it might be after your Saturn return, but high success is promised with midheaven conjunct Vega. Um, like lots of politicians have it, like influential business people. Um, very, very good for you know, for fame also, just success in general, you know. Popularity, kind of a like gives it kind of like a boss vibes. But yeah, like because your midheaven is in Capricorn, I would expect like the Saturn return, because it's Saturn with Capricorn, to be like a, you know, a time for you, which right now your Saturn return is very soon. Um, all right. Yeah, I mean it's literally like coming up. Um, like in the next, I mean it's like it's right around the corner. I mean it's about to change into your sign in like a few days, like literally, and it's about to be at 0 degrees Saturn, and then it'll bounce back, and I'd imagine that next year would be like your full on Saturn return, but like you're gonna start to feel this year, or even now. So I definitely consider like in addition to this reading and the other one you got, adding the current astrology slash spiritual alignment, and we can go into all that, go into all your transits, go into all of your, you know, your slow return, everything related. And that's a live reading, right? So you can let me know about that. And if I already told you about that, I apologize. But nearly every single person who gets a reading from me gets it for this reason, or does that whole process, right? Start with this, take this in, then we have the follow up. That's an hour over Zoom, and then same session we move into current astrology. I tell you about everything, like the year ahead, the current time for you, and we also talk about everything. You know, that's why it's like current astrology slash spiritual alignment, because I have two masters in psychology, and there's just always so many synchronicities. So let me know if you want to do that. It's usually like 380, but for you, I would do it for 250. So let me know, and we can set up a time. But even regardless, we'll set up a time. Like biting, I don't know why I feel a little bit nervous right now. Not like I just started to like last second. Let me just rub my neck. I know this is weird. Really, really tense right here. I should go to massage. Sometimes I need to like go on a little like halftime rants when I'm doing readings and just talk about like random shit. But I'm going to a concert, Armin van Buuren, and like State of Trance. So excited. But I literally just realized like, wow, my freaking neck is so stiff, and I could go take a sauna. Like I have a sauna here, like a little small one. I legit should, honestly, but I'm not going to. Oof, I stiff. Well, maybe I'll. No, I'm not gonna get a fucking massage in Netherlands. I'll be fine. I could take a bath. No, yeah, I'll figure it out. Hopefully, I have a bath at my hotel. Anyways, okay, so Yeah, so that's huge. And having Neptune on your midheaven means that like you want to do something that's helping society. You people who have Uranus, Neptune on the midheaven, like I never see it. Not like they like they're the counselors, they're the healers, they're the people who truly want to help. Um, and it's like yeah, because they want to really make a difference. Like on their generation and on some of like the mental health issues and just overall issues that are facing their generation. Um, yeah, like really wanting to be of service to their profession, that kind of vibe. And then Uranus kind of like makes it so it's like an unconventional career, where you're like contributing to society. So they're very similar. And the part of fortune is conjunct Uranus. So um that's kind of saying how like achieving your like worldly goals like in relation to what I just said with the Uranus, like helping humanity in whatever way it resonates with you is like that's like the best for you, right? Um, and also like building like a really firm sense of inner self-worth. Um, a lot of times with that, like sometimes the fulfillment is like delayed until later in life. So you don't have to worry about anything with the career stuff, right? Because you have to like you're here to like master your like any like emotional insecurities you might have. That's step one. But the beauty of that is that because you have Jupiter in the eighth house and Venus, Jupiter in the eighth house is like a flashlight in the area, like the gates of the unknown that everyone's afraid. It's like everyone's afraid to open these gates. For you, not only are they open, but you have a flashlight in them. So two flashlights, the Venus and the Jupiter flashlight. And your North Node's there. So it's like that's where you're meant to be. You're meant to be exploring. So the things that really like resonate with you, if it's numerology, if it's astrology, if it's just like even like psychology or like being a detective or like learning about like a like whatever theory, like just follow that, like follow whatever like interests you. Let me get my feel into this again. Yeah, I literally have your chart in my head right now. I know this looks weird, but I like need to do this sometimes. Usually I do this off camera, so you see like why I wasn't filming. So okay, I know I have to talk about your Saturn in 12th house, but not yet. You have so many esoteric gifts, but they are like muscles. In sports, how there can be the buffest guy, the guy with the highest athletic potential, but he doesn't work hard enough. He's just like, oh, I'm good. And then you have the guy who might not have it naturally, but he works his ass off and he becomes the best. That's how it is with like intuition and everything esoteric also. It feels better closing my eyes, by the way. So just bear with me. Um, so when it comes to like your eighth house, it's like those deep dives, dark nights of the soul and all that, they're not gonna be as difficult as they would for someone else because of Jupiter and Venus influence, but still Pluto's there. So like literally you are here to experience your shadow in some type of way, you know. And in terms of this, but then Pluto doesn't make any like aspect besides like conjuncting Jupiter, which is not like a personal planet. So interesting. Um, yeah. Well, actually, it does trine your moon. Interestingly enough, that's the one I missed out on. So yeah, I mean. Pluto trine Moon just gives like a lot of emotional leadership, like emotional like resourcefulness and leadership skills. Lots of like internal power. So who enjoys a challenge, who's very good at motivating other people. And yeah, who really feels like emotionally like they're here for a big reason. They want to like give back. World changers. And then Sun trine Saturn, that's a really good one to have. I have Sun sextile, and that just gives you like a lot of like confidence and organizational abilities, especially since you lack Earth. This could be your saving grace. You can take on responsibilities with ease and have good common sense, and it gives you actually good organizational ability with your work. So it's really good for success. It's a blessing when you have no Earth. Mercury square, wow, Neptune and Uranus. So I know that those two really well. So one of them basically that's like so your Mercury's in Libra, it's retrograde also. So you have Mercury and Venus retrograde. So that's speaking to like either like under speaking or over speaking in past life. Um, underthinking or overthinking, like something with your mental faculties was under or like not developed properly. So that person tends to be like an overthinker. Interesting, I saw you use a Virgo first. Um, and yeah, like really in a chart, like it's like in your case of the North Node Scorpio, I would take it as and it's on the descendant too. So it's like it's in Libra, so it's like you're really meant to um really learn to communicate a lot within your relationships in like a very, very fair manner. But the retrograde nature of it can make someone like very shy. They can have a very different learning style than like what's like normal. Um, and yeah, they can struggle in like school and stuff like that, and they can require more of like a kind of they can be way more right brain, way more artistic. So they definitely need like especially as kids like to be not with parents that are like be a lawyer, be a doctor, be this, be that. Like they need to be like dancing and painting and doing like poetry and getting confidence in different areas. So even as an adult, finding different areas you know like understand that like you might like be able to be super high up in like the like understanding of like the highest philosophical concepts, and then when it comes to like something very basic level, it can be difficult, which can have relationship issues too, like overthinking. So the best way to deal with that, and actually no, you do have air in your chart. This is your Mercury. I missed your Mercury. So you do have air, so you just don't have Earth. um your descendants on Spica, so that's really good. You could get really, really lucky with marriage. Um, and yeah, just overall be very good looks and have like a very nice vibe to you. Um, you like to nurture others by how you give back to them, like how you show lots of love with all that Leo energy, like with smiling and laughing and joy, and then you like to also like receive that in return. Especially when it comes to like creativity and fun and children. So you feel cared for and nurtured when people play with you and ignite that inner child. And you're able to really like kind of push other people's creative talents, like especially your Mars in the fifth house, like you can be an example of others to kind of push themselves creatively because you have that strong need to like express your personal creativity, as I said before, right? um Also, Mars and Leo people have to watch out for like arrogance and like narcissistic tendencies, right? So it's like the idea of like, and that's why like the Scorpio is very, very good at listening, so that's cool, right? But the Leo sometimes is like me, 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 and if you meet someone with like a bunch of Leo, like they'll like you can and they're like low vibe Leo, like you can like feel them like not listening, like waiting for their turn to talk, you know. So it's difficult with with people like that. But Scorpio is very just you know, good friend. They'd rather have a few like really solids than like a lot of like kind ofs. But then like the Leo is like super social, you know. So it's like, how do you balance those two? Big question. Um, yeah. So um, yeah, Vertex 7th house Libra, like you know, your doorway to higher awareness is through finding fairness in relationships and right human relations. And you know, being an Aries rising, you know, you're gonna have, you know, which opposes your Mercury, like it's like, you know, that you're gonna have to deal with the fact that part of you is gonna, like, your moon and fire wants, you know, needs that individualism, like so you can't be held down, right? Like you can't be in a relationship that's like constraining, where you have to like be like have like a certain gender role and all that, you know, it won't work. Like, because like, you know, as a Leo moon, you have that emotional need for self-expression, and you need that boundlessness. And as a Scorpio, you see beneath the surface, you see past the BS. Mika, don't touch my jacket. You see past the BS, right? So it's like, um you know, you're not just going to give in to something just because other people are doing it, like tradition. That goes back to your Mercury, your mind square. Do you have Chiron in like a sign that's like Virgo or Gemini? Let's see. Yep, that's correct. So basically, I see it a lot. Yeah, I guess that I was literally away. I didn't even look at it. So people have that, the same thing. Many of my clients have it, and it's like they were basically ahead of their, like they basically were made to believe that they're dumb when they're young, because you're Mercury retrograde. You probably like you know, maybe you struggle at school, or maybe you just have like a very different thought process. And with the Mercury retrograde squaring Uranus and Neptune, you are not dumb, by the way. You think outside the box. But with the Uranus square, it can just make you you know, have very non-traditional ideas, very original thoughts that but it can be difficult to kind of capture on a paper. Like your mind can be like super fast, and hard to kind of like put them into words. Um, that's the kind of genius energy, you know. And then with Neptune, that's a tricky one. My girlfriend has it, and sometimes it annoys the shit out of me. But what can happen? It can be lost you for. I lost you for the second time. My phone screen died. Shut down. But yeah, like overall, you see how it like kills my momentum. It's so annoying. But overall, yeah, like you know, having that, it just makes it so it's just difficult to like use your powers of discrimination. But you can be like, you know, very mystical, very psychic. But you can sometimes take in other people's thoughts of you, and people can project on you a lot. And you can think like sometimes take other people's thoughts and ideas as your own, right? And it can be very difficult to like kind of pin down like what's your idea and what's someone else's. So yeah. Um yeah. So um let's see. Yeah, I mean, on the topic of Chiron, you know, you know, you as a sixth house, you could be a healer as your daily, you know, like as you know, that could be part of your, you know, your daily routine is healing in some way. You could be a healer, like as your job. Um, you know, you're searching for like self-healing techniques on a daily basis, right? It plays in your daily life. And in Virgo, it's literally like, you see how I guessed that correctly? Because Virgo's Mercury, so that just talks about like kind of pain around thinking you're dumb, or like people like misunderstanding your way of thinking. You're right, your Mercury, your brain. Um, so yeah, it makes health and healing really important to you. and there's like usually a really strong link between emotional problems and physical health. You can fear emotions. Some people have that fear emotions. So yeah, but like it's like very common to become like become of service to humanity when you have that. Yeah. So talk about that. So yeah, then finally well, I guess okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about Saturn last in 12th. Pallas, um, that in the second, that just gives you like a really good ability to handle money, and acquire money through like kind of creative schemes. Just have to trust yourself. Um, and like Pallas, in Taurus is like very good for like kind of like common sense and just like wisdom in general. You have Vesta on your IC in Cancer, so that just makes someone who's very committed to like their family. And maybe they had like extra responsibilities as a child, which kind of prepare them for a certain role. The role that you're in right now in your life, or that you will be in your life. And yeah, vesting Cancer is the same thing, right? It's like just like it's exactly the same thing. Just really, really strong commitment to your family of origin. And they're like they can also really affect you. Like if you can withdraw like the Cancer crab into like a shell if you feel hurt by them. And you enjoy like working with people who you have like a real emotional connection with. Like you want to like have people like and yeah, and maybe even do it like working from home potentially. And you definitely have like that boss energy. Like you could definitely work like as an entrepreneur or as like someone who like kind of starts working like in a company or something else. Like it's very diverse what you can do. But like if you told me you were like an investment banker or something like, you know, where it's based on like other people's money in some type of way, I would not be surprised at all with all that eighth house. And I would actually encourage it and be like, yo, go for it. Like you have like the best energy there. Yeah. So all right. Um so then yeah, Saturn the 12th in Pisces. Basically, very strong karma in this lifetime. It's kind of like this lifetime is kind of like a do-over with the retrograde. In this sense, karmically. There can be different fears that hold you back, like kind of fearing anything hidden. And it's usually around like boundaries, like feeling that your own boundaries were constantly threatened. And Saturn 12th house isn't necessarily a bad thing, but or a different. There's necessarily good or bad. It's difficult. It can be difficult, but like I made a post a while ago that was like, like I made a lot of them, like most difficult placements, and one of them was Saturn in the 12th, and a lot of people were like, no, it's not difficult. You just have to, like it's difficult for the first 29 and a half years, but then once you're able to um like it can open a lot, like once you can have like a sense of humor about yourself, and about your shortcomings. Like it is very, like it is difficult, but it gets easier after the Saturn return. So you're getting into this time where it's gonna be a lot easier, and it's also returning in your 12th house, right? So old fears might come back kind of soon. Like fear of the dark, fear of the unknown, lots of self-limitation, right? Like 12th house Saturn can create somebody who's like afraid to dream. Um, but also because it's 12th house, it can create astrologers or workers like healers, because it gives them like a serious attitude towards studying what it takes to like become this, right? But yeah, like there can be like this pessimism that keeps them away from like achieving their inner wishes, right? Also usually there's like a difficult birthing process, so there could be some like perinatal trauma there for sure. Not for sure, but just I would ask your mom about that if you don't know. You'd be surprised. Like what I've heard from some clients with this. And then it's not very close to your ascendant, so it's like it's in the 11th house in Placidus, which like I could speak on that, I guess, which would I already kind of did, which is like kind of like restrictions in terms of like finding like the right friends, and usually like it's fewer but better friends. That's like a Scorpio thing in general. But I do full signs houses. Um, but in term aspect wise, like we'll talk about this then after, and then we'll end. But yeah, what was that? Yeah, I need to turn off my annoying vibration. I thought it was like a sale, but it was my brother. Um, oh, and then look at that. Ooh, okay, so I see some more juicy stuff. So yeah. Um, basically, grab one thing. Basically, yeah. Um, all kinds of like self-placed like kind of limitations, and a lot of it can come from the mother sometimes, or father, like from the upbringing, unconscious worries and guilt, feeling responsible for things that that are not yours, like taking on like blame or shame that's not yours. So it's like about like becoming conscious of that and breaking it, right? And a lot of people with us, they don't talk about their deepest thoughts to anyone. They're very, very like they suffer in solitude. Um, but at the same time, yeah, so it's about like learning to open up to people, learning to talk about your emotions, all that stuff, which is your North Node in Scorpio is literally saying Scorpio is like that deep, talking about your darkness is like one of the biggest, most important things for you, even if it's to one person. Also can bring like hidden enemies of an older age. So maybe like an older teacher who's an asshole. I don't know. But yeah, like just like the best advice is like to not take life so seriously. Like, understand that fear of the fear is more powerful than the fear itself. Um, so yeah, and not be so like with the seclusion. So okay, so with the ascendant, so it's squared by Uranus and Neptune. Let's see how many off. Yeah. So basically like Uranus square ascendant, it's like the right to express your own personality is very important. It just speaks more like that individualism. Um and the more that you're forced to kind of conform to society, like the more you want to rebel. It just doesn't work for you. Um so yeah. Super creative too. And yeah, just standing out from the crowd, like in terms of your looks as well. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Ascendant and just the way you act. And then yeah, the Neptune square ascendant can make people like project their own insecurities onto you a lot. So then we have Mars, which I like to open this up. Um, even though I pretty much have it memorized, but whatever. So the Mars square the nose, like the skip step. So unresolved nature pertains or material pertains to the nature of desires and instinctual will. It can be around unresolved anger from past lives. It's all from past lives. Unresolved sexual feelings and physical or sexual violence. Anger with or from others could be threatening to stability, just as children's or hidden anger could also be at play. It's passive toxicity being part of the problem. This can signify situations whereby the will has become co-opted in past lives in some fashion, and the person is overly compliant or lost. We could also see a situation in which the excessive dominance has distorted the soul's original intentions. Placement can indicate an unmet need for independence. That's why you have that fire in your chart, right? Which can then be a source of suppressed anger. So maybe like if that's showing up in your current life, that's why there's that need for you to have that freedom and for you to like move around the world and for you to like just do things differently, right? But the unmet need can also um be a paradox in relationships whereby the freedom to grow with another is desired, but a subconscious fear of entrapment prevents this need being fulfilled meaningfully. So that's important. Um, so it's like that kind of battle between freedom and between um stability, which is showing your chart, the Scorpio and the Leo. So really quickly, let's see if I missed anything. So I definitely see wealth. Fortuna on your moon. Yeah, more wealth. I just put out a freaking article. You have Sirius on your IC, that's a wealth star. You have Fortuna on your moon, that's a wealth asteroid. Um, Also you'll be like really, really great assistant to other people. Um, you could be like in terms of like what you do, like it could be like literally like a star. And I ain't even capping. And then, yeah. Like an actress or something like that. Like could easily like that'd be perfect for you. Um, just potential. So then besides that, talk about this. Nothing in your sun. Okay. Ooh, Zubin al-Shalami on your Jupiter can make you like a herbalist or like a really great poet. Um, and then Serpentis is on your Jupiter too, so that's like the most difficult star with Jupiter makes it easier. So you could be like an esoteric goddess, like just like amazing. Alphecca is on your Venus, and then I talked about Vega. Okay. Ooh, look at you! Oh my God, you're so fucking lucky. Do you have that Saturn 12th house? You have White Moon Selena, which is literally like like the spiritual protection. It's right on your Saturn. So you're like super you're so lucky. You like have like this really difficult part of your chart has this like spiritual protection over it. So it can actually just be like beneficial to your Saturn to where it's like more about diving into those deeper like areas of life and but yeah, just like making sure you still have firm boundaries with people. Also, if you are like rich, do not flaunt your money. Do not flaunt your money. Because Black Moon Lilith there in Taurus, the second house, can make people really jealous and have the evil eye energy on you there. If you believe in that, just trust me. Just don't. So Venus with Alphecca is really good for love affairs. Really good for artistic and musical taste. You also have Fomalhaut close to your Saturn. It's one of the that's like a very I'm curious to see what it says about that one. That's one of the four royal stars. I have no idea what the fuck it does with Saturn. But it could be good or it could be bad. But it's not so like it's not so close though. What's the orb? 347. So it's 2 degrees away. Wait, how the hell did reflections? Like how the hell did my cat get outside? So yeah, it's 2 degrees away, so it's like barely there. But what it says is, just watch what elements affecting the lungs. Just watch out for that. Throat and feet, um, and being wrongfully accused. But also, it can make someone an expert in medicine or prediction, versed in occult books and initiations into mystery. Ooh. But what? Yeah. So watch out for accidents in those areas, or just in general. But because White Moon Selena is in that area, it's really, really good. And then one last thing I'll check. Where is it? Unukalai. So Jupiter conjunct it. So it's one of the most difficult ones to have, and you have it with Jupiter. So it just says hypocrisy, deceit, banishment, imprisonment, or exile. But I mean, literally all the other ones are so bad. These are all really, really old. Like David Bowie had it. Like so the way I would take it is just like I don't even like I don't agree with that definition. I've seen a better definition somewhere else. I think of it as like the potential for like being like over the top with like um over the top with when it comes to like the kind of dark energy of Scorpio. Like if you don't find that power within yourself, I can type this thing in. Or once you do find that power, you're not you facing any fear of abandonment you might have, because like that's a big thing with you in relationships with this kind of markers, that the person can have like a big fear of abandonment, and then they can like be too much for that other person, and try to find God within that relationship, right? So it's really important to like to have your own purpose unlock. So in career, I've already highlighted that like it's very clear to me that you're like wanting to do something that helps people out. Um, so yeah, I think Serpentis is like very, very deep. Um, it can be really bad, but Jupiter can make it easier, even though that definition said that. So yeah, that is it. Um, double check one thing. What's this? Oh, and the nebula is on your Chiron, so that's like about truth seeking. So you're a truth seeker. That's like one of like the astrologer kind of like placements. Astrologer, like someone who like studies like the occult esoteric, and you have all that eighth house stuff. So also like like you definitely would be someone who like secrets would be revealed to. Like I just scratched this shit and now it's red. God damn it. But yeah, like you're probably the type of person like myself that people just trust with like their deepest secrets. And then inside that like karmically you're not supposed to let those out. So you don't, and then more people tell you them. So cool stuff. Anyways, let me know about getting the follow-up reading. I'm gonna go to Amsterdam. So happy I got this done before and the internet didn't fuck up. So yeah, I'm gonna get this sent to you ASAP and talk to you later. Bye.